enough things have been said around Senator Albrecht's LB 597 that there are some remarks I would like to make about how I think legally, rhetorically, and ethically we need to frame what this bill actually does, and politically as well. LB 597, which is Senator Albrecht's bill to give a tax credit to people who experience a stillbirth, which is amended as part of the committee amendment to LB 432, is about personhood. It is literally about explicitly creating a legal right of a fetus as a person. It's about creating a legal precedence in Nebraska for personhood. If it was about caring for the woman, if it was about caring for the mother, caring for the patient, we would just pass paid leave and universal health care and SNAP benefits and child care subsidies, let alone putting off implementing Medicaid for 2 years, which low-income women depend on. And if we cared about helping parents with their immense grief at losing a child, losing a pregnancy, then we would extend this credit to parents who lost children after birth as well, in the first year of life or the first 6 months of life, for example. But I don't like to make that point. That is not the argument that should be made. The idea that we need to make this fair by giving it to all people who lose a child is a good argument. It makes logical sense. But I want to avoid working to improve a bill in good faith when the bill is not introduced in good faith, when the purpose of the bill, in my opinion, is coming from a place of bad faith. If this bill was in good faith, then we would also be working just as hard to support pregnant women, mothers who lose children, mothers who have children that deal with developmental disabilities at huge expenses. Once they have those children, many in this body, including the introducer of this bill, turn their back on those women and they say, well, you just need to work harder, you need to get job training, you need to make better choices, you shouldn't have gotten divorced, you shouldn't have committed a crime when you were 18, on and on and on, to no end of how we're blaming these women for the things that happened to them in their life. So I want to avoid making that kind of argument that, well, if we give them the tax credit for the stillbirth, then we have to give it to them for the after the birth as well, because the bill is not in bad faith. It's not about anything other than personhood and creating a legal precedent for personhood, which you all know is not an argument that's going to go well in future years. You can never put a dollar amount on the loss of a pregnancy. For a family that loses a pregnancy that was wanted, that was anticipated, that we were excited about, it's devastating. I understand that. I understand that well. And I respect and sympathize with the many emotional and personal dimensions of this issue, but every effort must be made legally. And we're not dealing in the realm of emotions and feelings here, we are dealing in the realm of legality as lawmakers. Every effort must be made legally to ensure that fetal protection statuses do not pave the way for government actions that threaten a woman's right to reproductive choice. So I oppose any kind of legislation that creates or enforces the idea of fetal rights. Permitting legal actions on behalf of stillborn fetuses or enacting laws to protect fetuses opens a Pandora's box in terms of how the law treats pregnancy and childbirth. And however great our compassion is for the bereaved, we must examine this legislation with a critical eye because of the precedent it sets legally. If this poses a real threat to reproductive rights, as it does, and as bills like this around personhood often do, then we must oppose them as a matter of legal precedent. Thank you, Mr. President.